Yesterday, Senator Collins of Maine, the senior senator from Maine, and I were able to announce another step toward consensus. And we had previously been engaged in discussions with law enforcement and victims groups. More recently, we've been engaged in discussions with the National Rifle Association. We've agreed on modifications to the Stop Illegal Trafficking Firearms Act that addresses all of its substantive concerns while doing, as we've always wanted to do, providing law enforcement officials with the tools they need to investigate and prosecute illegal gun trafficking and straw purchasing. Now, Senator Collins and I are both strong supporters and advocates of Second Amendment rights for law-abiding Americans. And it seems absurd that some senators nonetheless persist in filibustering consideration of our bill. We, the American people, expect us to stand up and face our responsibilities. Whether we like having to vote or not, we have an oath of office to uphold the Constitution, to uphold our laws. And Congress has to confront the serious role the straw purchasing and gun trafficking play in supplying criminals with firearms for illegal purposes. It's not enough to stand on the floor of the Senate and say you're pro-law enforcement. Let us take as a given everybody is pro-law enforcement, but then give law enforcement the tools they need. The bipartisan Stop Illegal Trafficking in Firearms Act will create specific federal criminal statutes prohibiting the trafficking and straw purchasing of firearms. It'll also strengthen other law enforcement tools to assist those investigating these crimes. It's a common sense response to help in the fight against gun violence, and it'll help law enforcement. That's why law enforcement so strongly supports our bill. Yet, some are seeking to filibuster it. Let them go to law enforcement groups and say they're trying to block them and take away the tools they need to keep every one of us safe. Congress should be confronting the serious role that straw purchasing and gun trafficking play in supplying criminals with firearms for illegal purposes, not ducking the issue. Stand up and be counted. Stand up and be counted. Don't give speeches saying you're in favor of law enforcement, but we're going to take away tools law enforcement needs. Stand up and be counted. Stand up and be counted. If we can all agree that criminals and those adjudicated as mentally ill should not buy firearms, why should we not try to plug the loopholes in the law that allow them to buy guns without background checks? Stand up and be counted. It's a simple matter of common sense. And if we agree that the background check system is worthwhile, should we not try to inform its content and use so it can be more effective? What responsible gun owner objects to improving the background check system? Stand up and be counted. In our January hearing, I pointed out that Wayne LaPierre of the NRA testified in 1999 in favor of mandatory criminal background checks for, as he put it, every sale at every gun show. He went on to emphasize NRA's support for closing loophole in the background check system by saying, in what has become an oft-quoted remark, no loopholes anywhere for anyone. Well, of course, it's common sense to close the gun show loophole. The Senate voted to do so in 1999. We should vote to do so again. This time we should get it enacted. And that's one of the ways in which the bipartisan proposals from Senators Manchin and Toomey would improve the law if we're able to stop this ill-conceived filibuster and get to the bill. Americans across this great country are looking to us for solutions and for action, not filibustering or sloganeering. Americans are saying, stand up and be counted. I opened our first hearing on these issues in January, asking senators on both sides of the aisle to join in the discussion as part of a collective effort to find solutions to help ensure that no family, no school, no community ever has to endure the kind of tragedy the families of Newtown and Aurora, Mill Creek, Tucson, Blacksburg, or Columbine had to suffer. And as emphasized throughout the committee process, the Second Amendment is secure. It's going to remain secure and protected. That's part of my oath of office as a senator. In 2 recent cases, the Supreme Court has confirmed that the Second Amendment, like the other aspects of our Bill of Rights, secures a fundamental individual right. Americans have the right to self-defense. They have the right to have guns in their homes to protect their families. No one's going to take away these rights or these guns. Second Amendment rights are the foundation on which our discussion rests. They're not at risk. But what is at risk? We cannot close our eyes to what is at risk. Lives are at risk when responsible people fail to stand up for laws that will keep the guns out of the hands of those who will use them to commit mass murder. So I ask my fellow senators, focus our discussion debate on these proposed statutory measures intended to better protect our children and all Americans. Ours is a free society, an open society, a wonderful society. We should be coming together as elected representatives of all the American people to consider how to become a safer and more secure society. And I would have hoped that all senators in both parties would join together in good faith to strengthen our law enforcement efforts against gun violence and to protect public safety. Let's focus on our responsibilities to the American people. We're the 100 people. There are only 100 senators. We're elected to represent more than 314 million Americans. That is an awesome responsibility. Let's stand up to that responsibility. We're accountable to those people. We're not accountable to special interest groups on either the right or the left. We're accountable to 314 million Americans. These special interest lobbies on either the left or the right should not dictate what we do. We do not need a lobby's permission to pass laws to fight crime and improve public safety. That's our responsibility. And I urge senators to be less concerned with special interest scorecards and more focused on fulfilling our oath to faithfully discharge the duties of our office as United States senators. I consider myself a responsible gun owner, but I'm also someone who cherishes all of our constitutional rights. As a senator who's sworn an oath to uphold those rights, but as a father and a grandfather, as a former prosecutor who has seen the results of gun violence firsthand, I've been working to build consensus around common sense solutions. I'm prepared to debate and vote on the measures before us. I challenge other senators, do the same. Do the same. Stand up and be counted. Stand up and be counted. A filibuster says you're not willing to take a stand. You vote maybe. Stand up and be counted. Have the courage. Stand up and be counted. And then let us work together to make America safer, all Americans.